actually incorrect. So
Yeah, I'm just going to start recording because sometimes people, you're an old hand on this, you won't get nervous, but sometimes people do. Although you look nervous, Zach.
I'll take a look at that right away. I honestly, I know you sent it to me. I trust you. I just didn't catch that it was ready for review, so I apologize.
One more thing, with asking you forgiveness about this, your shoulders back a little bit, so you're sort of hunched over, and you look.
Oh, I'm just relaxing while we're talking. Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
So
Um, so you might want to just think of, the posture you have looks good.
well, that might be the posture that I've got. But I'm not really sure what else I can do. I think my shoulders probably look better if I'm like not at this, because again, the camera's down,
Yeah, the
looking down.
camera's down. Closer is better. So right now, that's a really good angle for you, and it's the lighting is great. I would say let's go with that if you're okay with it. Does it look okay to you?
It seemed I trust your judgment on this. I mean, I obviously wasn't about to set up in front of a blank wall, so I will take your word for it that this is the best the best possible combo. I don't really know, I could stand here with my shoulders up, but the sad fact is I'm probably just going to live a life of bad posture. So I'm not sure
All
what
right.
else I can
I shouldn't have said anything. It made yourself nervous.
do.
No, it's just that yeah, and yeah, I think you look fabulous and you look ready for this. The content that we have is excellent, by the way. When you boil it down, it says the key messages that we want. So
That's great.
super excited about that. All right, you have the script. Feel free to go off script. I just did that. It's just there are these interventions.
No, that's good.
All right, so
I
remember.
think the only thing I would ask, everything looked fine to me. I just was curious, how much do you want me to say about, you know, I'm trusting that that it was very purposeful on your part to have just like, I'm the ED of standing trees and that's it, done. Nothing else about standing trees. Do you want more about that, or do I just leave it as is? I mean,
You can say a few words about it. It's more like feel free to fill in the blanks. I don't know how much you want to go on to a whole exposition.
right. Well, no, I don't wasn't thinking of anything too long-winded, but maybe I'll just say like what our
Yeah, the
vision is,
mission
or
is.
our mission is,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
if I can do that in a compelling,
Of
short
course. Of course.
way.
Is your video, Zach.
Well, it's ours, to be perfectly honest. It's yours, but we won't tell anybody that. Um, so I'm just along for the ride, like I said in my email. So let's yeah, I'm ready to dig in.
Okay, and the last thing is do be sure, please, to be able to, like, in your mind, count to three between any pauses, because we need that for any micro edits. So it's tempting to just say, "Hi, I'm Zach," without giving that pause. The editor
Yeah.
really needs that pause. You take a deep breath and then count to three in your mind. It feels super awkward, but I'm a pro at this. I'm not going to think it's awkward. So you need to do that.
No, that's great. And just jump in and stop me at any point. I know you will, but if there's anything that I can do differently or better. Okay. So I'm game.
Okay, over to you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Zack Porter, and I'm the executive director of Standing Trees. Standing Trees' vision it's off to a fine start, and I'm already trying to now I need to
It's all right. Don't worry.
add a
Don't worry.
little bit. Let me just think about what I'm going to say.
If it's helpful, type it out. That way it's.
Yeah. Let me
What I would do if I were you would be something like, "Hi, I'm Zach Porter, Executive Director of Standing Trees, an organization that promotes old and mature forests," whatever you want to say. It's like this, the tagline of it.
yeah, super simple. That's all I'm going for. Um okay. Um
Count to three.
yeah. Hi, I'm Zack Porter, and I'm the executive director of Standing Trees. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, you're definitely looking down. So if
Okay.
you
Yeah,
can,
no
yeah,
problem. I'll look where I was looking before.
perfect. Thank
Um,
you.
yeah. Okay. Hi, I'm Zack Porter, and I'm the Executive Director of Standing Trees, an organization working to protect and restore forests on New England's federal and state public lands. We're excited to be with you. Now I'm ad-libbing too much. I need to just read the text. Okay,
So
I
tell you
promise.
what, do you want a chance to practice this and we reconvene in an hour?
It's okay. We'll just I will just read the text because I think you did a really good job, and I don't need to ad-lib. So
You're
let
welcome
me
to ad lib. I didn't mean to put words in your mouth. If you want to ad lib, if you want to take half an hour and just practice, we can always reconvene.
um I mean, yeah, I don't want to waste your time, but I
No, no,
think this
I blocked it out. I've got time.
okay. I think it's okay. I think what you wrote is good. So let me just roll with it, and we'll do a cut, basically just reading the text. I think it's good.
All
Is
right.
that all right? And then
Of
I
course.
think yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Um, let me just.
You've got such great energy when you start. It's a really good presentation.
Should I say like we're a new organization, or does that matter? You know, we're a new organization working to protect and restore forests on New England's public lands.
This
Um,
is a global audience. They don't really care
okay,
if you
yeah,
like
that's what I
every
thought.
yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay, I don't want to get lost
It's
in
easy
the
to get lost in the weeds.
yeah, missing the forest for the trees. So okay. Hi, I'm Zack Porter, and I'm the Executive Director of Standing Trees. We're an organization working to protect and restore forests on New England's public lands. And we're excited to welcome you to this panel on the value of mature and old forests in New England. In this session, we'll explore why old, mature forests in New England are so important for biodiversity, for the climate, and for our future. We have a great lineup of speakers today, each giving different perspectives on why it is so critically important to protect and restore mature and old forests in this region and all over the globe. Let's hear from our first speakers, Joe Maloof, founder of the Old Growth Forest Network, and Michael Kellett, executive director of Restore the North Woods. Joan and Michael will share their perspectives on the current status of old forests in New England and the need to rewild forests, with a clear view on why public lands are so critical to rewilding our forests for our future and ensuring we have old forests for future generations. Let's hear what they have to say. Is
Perfect. Great.
that all right?
For the next, that was absolutely great.
Yeah.
My only advice for the next one is use your mouse if you have one to scroll
So
up.
my
What
eyes don't
happened
go
is your
down.
eyes, like by the time you're,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's really,
No, I thought of that as I was doing it. Do you want me to
let's do
cut
it
the
again.
last
Let's do it again.
section again?
Doesn't, what's that?
Was it okay, or do you want me to cut it again? I can do it again.
Let's do it again. I mean, there's no harm.
Okay.
We have all the time in the world. You should be happy with the video as it comes out. And I want to make you look the best possible way.
You know what I'm gonna do? Let me just change the layout here so that maybe
Yeah, there's
fit
a
more
trick
words.
to it. It's like making sure you can see it all and then you're looking at the same place because that is
Yeah.
common. It's like by the time you get to the end,
Right, right, right. Yeah, no, I get it. Um, Although I feel like that was good. I don't want to I'm afraid of redoing it. It's not going to
no,
be
no,
as
don't
good
be
as
afraid of redoing. We'll just take the best cut.
okay. Let
It's no big
me
deal to be in front of a camera and do this. It honestly, it's no big deal. You can do it 10 times. Won't be a problem.
okay. Let's see. Yeah, okay. This will work. Okay. Hi, I'm Zack Porter, and I'm the executive director of Standing Trees. We're an organization and a community of. Let me think about how I want.
An organization that does
I'll
X,
just, yeah, I was thinking of saying an organization and a community of wild forest advocates, but is that even helpful? Probably not. I'll just stick to, I'll just stick to the easy. Um, okay. Hi, I'm Zack Porter, and I'm the executive.
not enough
Oh,
time and space.
yeah,
So
okay,
I need that 3-second pause.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's going to be choppy.
okay. Hi, I'm Zack Porter, and I'm the executive director of Standing Trees. an organization working to protect and restore forests on New England's public lands. We're excited to welcome you to this panel on the value of old forests in New England. In this session, we'll explore why mature and old forests in New England are so vitally important for biodiversity, for the climate, and for our future. We have a fantastic lineup of speakers giving different perspectives on why it's so important to protect and restore mature and old forests in this region. Let's hear from our first speakers, Joe Maloof, founder of the Old Growth Forest Network, and Michael Kellett, executive director of Restore the North Woods. Joan and Michael will share their perspectives on the current status of old forests in New England and the need to rewild forests with a clear view on why public lands are essential to rewilding our forests and ensuring that we have old forests in the future. Let's hear what they have to say. Is
Fabulous.
that all right?
Yeah, it's great. Let's go to the next.
I had to reach up. I had to reach up and adjust the screen in the
All
middle.
right.
So
Doesn't matter. It's a micro edit. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Are you? Uh-huh.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, over to you for the next one.
Okay.
Again, count to 3. I love the positive energy you bring. It makes it really powerful. So it's great.
Okay. Let's see here. Should I say something like "Thanks, Joan and Michael"? Instead of just like when I'm picking
Sure.
up where they've left off.
Yeah,
Something
absolutely.
like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it gives the appearance of being live. It gives the appearance of, you might just want to practice how you're going to say it because, then you say Joan and Michael. So maybe, thanks, Joan and Michael. You offer some interesting perspectives.
Right. Right. Okay. Thanks, Joan and Michael, for offering some fascinating perspectives on why protecting the remnants of old forests in New England is so critical, and even more importantly, mature forests that are recovering from complete deforestation just a few centuries ago. Maybe that worked, maybe not. Let's go back to.
I don't think it's centuries ago. It's like, 50 years ago, 100 years ago.
I know. Well, I thought of that as soon as I said it. So this is too many things on my mind to get the facts straight. Let me. I'm just going to.
I'm going to offer again, Zach. Look, I've got the afternoon free. Do you sure you don't want to practice this?
It was so the first one was easy. These ones are all written very well. Let's just pound it out. I'm going to stick closer to the script again. Okay. So
count to 3.
Thanks, Joan and Michael, for offering some interesting perspectives. Hold on. We're good. I think what I'm just going to quick edit here.
Yeah, that helps. It's always hard to do stuff like that on the fly.
Thanks, Joan and Michael, for offering some interesting perspectives on why protecting and restoring mature and old forests in New England is so critical. Our next 2 speakers are Susan Messino, professor at Trinity College, and Bill Muma, professor emeritus at Tufts University, and co-author of several of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change reports. They're going to walk us through the role of old forests in sequestering carbon and help us debunk the myth that cutting down old forests and replacing them with young forests is good for the climate. It isn't. They're also going to introduce a term, proforestation, that is fast gaining traction among scientists and ecologists around the world. And one of the most efficient ways to capture carbon is to let existing forests grow older and more complex. Over to you, Susan and Bill.
Great.
You want
to do it again?
I might have said "is" at one point when I should have said "are."
You want to do it again?
But let me just make sure. Let's see here.
You can do it again. We'll take the better one.
Okay, we'll do it once more and then we'll keep going.
Count to 3.
Thanks, Joan and Michael, for offering some interesting perspectives on why protecting and restoring mature and old forests in New England is so critical. Our next 2 speakers are Susan Messino, professor at Trinity College, and Bill Muma, Professor Emeritus at Tufts University and co-author of several of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. You get a little blocky sometimes.
Let's start
Um,
over. Let's start again.
yeah, just not flowing. Okay. Um,
Yeah, that's a tongue twister, but you could say IPCC, but not everyone knows what they are.
what's another word other than interesting? I feel like interesting isn't quite some.
So your first one was pretty good. Fascinating perspectives.
Okay, I'll just say fascinating. Thanks, Joan and Michael, for offering some fascinating perspectives on why protecting and restoring mature and old forests in New England is so critical. Our next two speakers are Susan Mussino, professor at Trinity College, and Bill Muma, professor emeritus at Tufts University and co-author of several of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change reports. They're going to walk us through the role of old forests in sequestering carbon and help us debunk the myth that cutting down mature forests and replacing them with young trees is good for the climate. It isn't. They're also going to introduce a term, proforestation, that is fast gaining traction among scientists and ecologists around the world. That one of the most efficient ways to capture carbon is to let existing forests grow older and more complex. Over to you, Susan and Bill.
That was really good, Zach. One comment I'm going to make is that you're doing a lot of this. You may or may not be
Yeah,
aware of it.
back and forth. Okay.
Back and forth, which is okay. It isn't pronounceable, but in the next segments you might want to just be aware of that.
Okay. Did that
I think it was fine.
okay. Let's call it let's call it good then.
You sure? We can do
Yeah,
it
I
again.
think it's just that last paragraph where I'm thinking there I don't think it quite flowed
It doesn't quite
right. I think
flow.
I said
Why
they're
don't
also
we fix it? Why don't you fix it and then do it again?
okay. I think they're also going to introduce a term proforestation,
Reforestation.
fast gaining.
It's it's one of the most efficient ways to capture carbon or something like
Yeah,
that.
right. So let me just think about how it is. How about that describes? That describes one of the most efficient ways to capture carbon.
Sure. Yep.
No, hold on a second. That
It's fast gaining traction and is one of the most efficient ways to capture. In fact, it's one of the most efficient ways to capture.
okay. I'll do the whole thing again. Yeah, or can I just record that? I probably shouldn't just record that last one, right? I'll do
No,
the
it's better
whole.
to take it from the top because
Okay.
that way it's just easier for editing and
Yeah,
everything else.
easier editing. Okay, let's do it.
Yep, don't forget to count to 3.
Okay.
Same enthusiasm.
Thanks, Joan and Michael, for offering some fascinating perspectives on why protecting and restoring mature and old forests in New England is so critical. Our next two speakers are Susan Mussino, professor at Trinity College, and Bill Muma, professor emeritus at Tufts University, and co-author of several of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change reports. They're going to walk us through the role of old forests in sequestering and storing carbon, and help us debunk the myth that cutting down mature forests and replacing them with young trees is good for the climate. It isn't. They're also going to introduce a term, proforestation, fast gaining traction among scientists and ecologists around the world, that describes how one of the most efficient ways to capture carbon is to simply let existing forests grow older and more complex. So over to you, Susan and Bill.
Fabulous. Nailed it.
Okay,
Great.
let's move on.
Yeah, we're getting closing in.
Um, You did a great job with this. I don't know if you use ChatGPT or if this is your brilliance at work, but I think this is a really great simple script. I mean, it's not easy to put something simple like this together. I know, so I really think you did a great job of
I did not use
it.
ChatGPT. However, I'm using it for something else today. Thank you. This is one of the things I love to do.
I
Okay, so
need to learn. I need to learn from you when and how to use ChatGPT to my benefit.
it's so
What
helpful.
one of these days I'll figure it out.
Can I just tell you, I have to give a keynote speech on Thursday night. I created an outline, and then they sent me an outline, and they're really divergent. And I submitted them both to ChatGPT, and I said, please combine these in 3 different ways. And they did, and gave me 3 different options for a speech that integrates all three, everything. So,
Wow,
okay.
amazing.
So we've just finished Susan and Bill. We're on to Amy and Jim. That was a real torture getting Amy and Jim's speech
Yeah.
together. So over to you.
Okay.
Take a couple takes if you want, or we'll get the first one. Don't forget to count to 3.
Okay. Thank you, Susan and Bill, for giving us a lot to reflect on, especially how we need to rethink the role of old forest as a central strategy for storing and sequestering carbon. But we heard earlier in the session that only a tiny fraction of old forests are legally protected. You know what? I think what we should change that is to tiny fraction of forest, period. Um,
Well, no, I think the point here is that it is a tiny fraction of old forests that are legally protected. You can make the case that a pretty large percentage of forests are protected.
well, only 3% of forests in New England are protected. Um,
Okay, why don't you micro edit that to say only 3%? I thought it was only 3% of old forests are protected.
no, it's 3% of the entire land area of New England is protected from logging.
Okay, and then you could add an even tinier fraction of old forests is legally protected.
Actually, it's the opposite. Probably a pretty significant portion of old forests are protected, but there's so few old forests
Yeah, all
that
right. Why don't you micro edit it to how you want it to say?
yeah, but you know what I'm saying. It'd be interesting actually to know. That's a great question that I don't think I've ever seen anyone, and it's probably because we just don't have good mapping of what
Yeah,
old forest is out there.
yeah.
But my assumption would be that actually we're doing better on that count than we are on forest protection generally. So I think I'm just going to say, uh,
Only a tiny fraction of forests are protected from logging.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Let's just be blunt about it.
Yep.
Um,
Which you might want to then think about that next sentence.
well, what if I simply said more public forests are legally protected? The next session explores how we can what we can do to ensure that more
Yeah,
public
that's fine.
forests are
Yeah,
protected.
perfect. Yep.
Okay. Um, all right.
Don't forget, you didn't count to 3 last time, so be sure you give that pause so there's
Okay.
enough time. I know it feels awkward, but just live with that
No,
awkwardness.
no problem. Do you need me to go back and do that again, or will it work?
No, it will work, but
Okay.
it was close.
Susan and Bill gave us a lot to reflect on, especially about how we need to rethink the role of mature and old forests as a central strategy for storing and sequestering carbon. But we heard earlier in the session that only a tiny fraction of forests are legally protected from logging. The next session explores what we can do to ensure that more public forests are legally protected, so they can continue to provide us with all of the benefits that they offer us today and even more into the future. We'll hear from Amy Sheldon, a state legislator in the state of Vermont, and from Jim Furnish, retired deputy chief of the U.S. Forest Service. I'm going way back and way forward. Let me do this
Yeah,
again.
you are. I was just about to say that. It's like I'm getting a little dizzy watching you.
Yeah. No, I can. And let me just make a couple other quick tweaks here. Um,
It's not easy, is it?
no, but it's not so bad. This will be. We'll get this done.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're closing in.
Thank you, Susan and Bill, for giving us a lot to reflect on, especially about how we need to rethink the role of mature and old forests as a central strategy for storing and sequestering carbon. But we heard earlier in the session that only a tiny fraction, just 3% of New England's forests are legally protected from logging. The next session explores what we can do to ensure that more public forests are legally protected, so they can continue to provide us with all of the many benefits and they can be here for generations to come. We'll hear from Amy Sheldon, a state legislator in the state of Vermont, and from Jim Furnish, retired deputy chief of the U.S. Forest Service. They'll walk us through why we need to rethink forest management from the ground up on public lands and share some ideas on how to set a bold vision and enact equally bold legislation to achieve these goals. Over to you, Amy and Jim.
Great. Perfect.
Um,
It's good.
let me take one more cut.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm just going one more tweak.
Yeah, and also your eyes did drift again.
Yeah, I noticed. I jumped in the middle to raise the screen, and it wasn't soon enough. Let me. How can I?
You can imagine my consternation when Amy wasn't taking direction well about not looking at the camera, about looking down, everything. She's like, I don't care. People are used to people. It's like, Amy, it makes a difference.
She's challenging. I have a tough time working with Amy too. I mean, honestly, she wants to do things her way and on her time. And I mean, I guess she's earned it. And when when you're a legislator with power, you just kind of,
But we've
let
all learned it.
what's that?
We've all learned it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
All right. You ready?
um, I hear what you're saying. um, okay, let me see here.
Don't forget to count to three.
Yep.
And don't forget to not rock.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Susan and Bill, for giving us a lot to reflect on, especially about how we need to rethink the role of mature and old forests as a central strategy for storing and sequestering carbon. But we heard earlier in the session that only a tiny fraction, just 3.3% of forests in New England, are legally protected from logging. The next session explores what we can do to ensure that more public forests are legally protected, so they can continue to provide us with all of the benefits they provide today and more, and so they can be there for generations to come. We'll hear from Amy Sheldon, a state legislator in the state of Vermont, and from Jim Furnish, retired deputy chief of the U.S. Forest Service. They'll walk us through why we need to rethink forest management from the ground up on public lands and share some ideas on how to set a bold vision and enact equally bold policies to achieve these goals. Over to you, Amy and Jim.
Super.
I'm okay. At the risk of being annoying, I'm going to do this one more time.
No worries. All the time. Take all the time
Okay.
that you need. And your eyes were going down and down.
Yeah. What I'm going to do this time is actually make it smaller and like just use it.
Fit it all in the band that you're looking at.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Okay. Hopefully this will work. Thank you, Susan and Bill, for giving us a lot to reflect on, especially about how we need to rethink the role of mature and old forests as a central strategy for storing and sequestering carbon. But we heard earlier in the session that only a tiny fraction of forests are legally protected from logging, just 3% in New England. The next session explores what we can do to ensure that more public forests are legally protected, so they can continue to provide us with all of the benefits they provide today and more, and so that they can be here for future generations to come. We'll hear from Amy Sheldon, a state legislator in the state of Vermont, and from Jim Furnish, retired deputy chief of the U.S. Forest Service. They'll walk us through why we need to rethink forest management on public lands and share some ideas on how to set a bold vision and enact equally bold policies to achieve these goals. Over to you, Amy and Jim.
Perfect.
Okay, let's move on. Um,
What's wrong?
nope, I'm just typing a couple notes to myself.
And the word indigeneity can trip you up, so you might want to make sure that you, if you're going to use that, it rolls off your tongue.
Okay, yeah, no, that's not a foreign word to me, so all good. Um, sorry, I'm just trying to type at head level. It's not so easy. Um, okay, let's do it. Thank you, Amy and Jim. You've painted a clear picture as to what steps are needed at the federal level and gave us such a fantastic example from Vermont, the first state in the nation to set legislatively mandated goals for protecting 30% by 2030 and 50% by 2050. Truly inspiring. Our final speaker of the session today is Rich Holshoe. Rich is a member of the Abenaki tribe in Vermont. Well, actually, here I should have read the whole thing. He would take issue with. I'm trying to think of how I should describe him. He likes to call himself a spokesperson for, and in fact, I'm trying to remember how he identified himself in the script because you might just want to stick to that. Um, let's see here. Founder of the Otui Project, and he says, I'm one of the Elnu Abenaki. Let's see. Well, I think he just wants to identify himself as the founder of the Otui Project. Why don't I say the green script is what he's saying in the film, is that right?
Correct.
So he's going to say, I'm the founder of the Otui Project in the film.
They all self-introduce.
Yeah, okay. I'll say he's a spokesperson for the Elnu Abenaki in Vermont.
Sure.
I think that's safe to say. And I can double check that with him as soon as we're done today.
Yeah, I just stick to a script that you know he'll be happy with because I really need to get this off my plate today.
Yeah. Okay. Um, let's do it.
Don't forget, count to three.
Yep. Thanks, Amy and Jim. You've painted a clear picture as to what steps are needed at the federal level and gave us such a fantastic example from Vermont, the first state in the nation to set legislatively mandated goals for protecting 30% of the state's land area by 2030 and 50% by 2050. Truly inspiring. Our final speaker of the session is Rich Holshoe. Rich is a spokesperson for the Elnu Band of the Abenaki tribe in what we now call Vermont. He's here to share his thoughts about indigeneity, of how we need to reframe our understanding of and our relationship to the world around us. Over to you, Rich.
Perfect.
Okay. On to the last one.
Home stretch.
Let me just shrink the text here too.
The only thing I didn't do is a last closeout. Once you read it, if you want to just say, and that's it, thanks for joining me. I'm Zack Porter. Visit me at standingtrees.org or whatever self-promotion you want to do. But, I didn't know how you wanted to close out.
Oh, that's fine. I'll keep it super simple.
Super.
I think I'll make a plug for climateforest.org as well, which is our coalition website. Okay. Can I make a call to action, like a specific call to action, or is that, not, I shouldn't say specific because I'm not going to offer anything that would go stale. I just was thinking like maybe I would say, follow us on social media, sign up for our email list, and
But did you see the 3 calls to action that are there?
yes, right. No, those are great. I forgot. And those are perfect because they're not like, they're not overly specific so that it becomes out of date.
Yeah, I think you have
Those are great.
something somewhat generic. Something you can do. You can work on social
Yeah.
media, you can share your thoughts, etc. I wouldn't have it as a specific campaign or something.
Yeah. I don't need to say, yeah. So yeah, thank you for reminding me about that. So, all right, let's roll.
All right. Don't forget, count to 3. Don't rock and roll.
Thank you, Rich, for reminding us of the importance of place and of considering all of the beings, human and more than human, past, present, and future, who dwell in our forests. And thanks to all of our speakers, we've heard so many reasons why mature and old forests are worth more standing and why they are essential for our climate, for biodiversity, and for our future. Are you wondering how to amplify this message? Here are 3 things you can do. Number 1, share your thoughts about old forests on social media using the hashtags #WorthMoreStanding and Nature for Life. Encourage your legislators to adopt bold visions and bold legislation to protect mature and old forests, especially on public lands. Number 3, get outside and connect with the forest nearest you. Thanks for joining us today, and please check out standingtrees.org and climateforest.org. I'm going to do this over again. I think I forgot to say number two also.
You did.
Yeah. So let me do that again.
Yeah, and I don't know about the plug at the end. I would integrate it into the things you can do. It sounds like an infomercial at the end.
Okay.
So I would say, here are 4 things you can do, 1, 2, 3, and learn more. Check out standingtrees.org and climateforest.org to check out to learn more about this issue. I'm Zack Porter. Thank you for joining us today.
Okay.
Wrap. Then it's less of an infomercial. It's integrated into the recommendations or the call to action.
Um, let's see here. Well, how about this? What if we just how easy would it be to put um, standingtrees.org, climate-forest.org on the screen at the end, so I don't even have to say it. It'll just be there.
I'll talk to the videographer about a tail. Yeah, it shouldn't be hard.
Because if we did that, then I could just leave that out.
Yeah, I think we
Um,
can probably do that.
but why don't I'll do a cut. I'm just trying to think of where to put it here. Here, how about this? I'll say number one, check out standingtrees.org and climate-forest.org to learn more. And then share your thoughts about mature and old forests on social media
Perfect.
using the hashtags, something like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good. Just for parallel's sake, I'd say learn more or check out. Start with a verb because they all start with a verb. So.
Yep. Okay.
All right. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Rich, for reminding us of the importance of place and considering all of the beings, human and more than human, past, present, and future, who dwell in our forests. And thanks to all of our speakers, we've heard so many reasons why old forests are worth more standing and why they are so essential for our climate, for biodiversity, and for our future. Wondering how to amplify this message? Here are 3 things you can do. Number 1, check out standingtrees.org and climate-forests.org and let's see here. I need to do this over again.
No worries. Instead of starting with check out, I would start with learn more because then you're inviting them to learn.
I like that. Yep.
It's a little bit more inclusive of an invitation.
Yep. Good.
Learn more about old forests and old and mature forests and their role in climate by visiting standingtrees.org and climate-forest.org. Number 2. Oh, and then sharing on social media, whatever.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yep. Thank you, Rich, for reminding us of the importance of place and of considering all the beings, human and more than human, past, present, and future, who dwell in our forests. And thanks to all of our speakers, we've heard so many reasons why old forests are worth more standing and why they are essential for our climate, for biodiversity, and for our future. Wondering how to amplify this message? Here are 3 things you can do. Number 1, Learn more about mature and old forests at standingtrees.org and climate-forest.org. And then follow us on social media to share your thoughts using the hashtags #WorthMoreStanding and Nature for Life. Number two, encourage your legislators to adopt bold visions and bold legislation to protect mature and old forests, especially on your public lands. Number three, get outside and connect with a forest near you. I'm Zack Porter with Standing Trees. Thank you for joining us.
Yay! That's a wrap.
Will that work?
That will work.
Okay.